I see some prisoners out of it on drugs.
What are you hot, honey?
Prison officers say they've lost control.
I don't feel safe, Emma. It's shit.
That inmates run the jail.
Let me what you doing in there?
The threat of violence is constant.
You're not going to leave out? Move away from me unless someone chooses it on you.
Security compromised.
On the form of offence, pick up any packages and come back through.
And prison officers struck down, exposed to drug fumes.
Big lung full of space, and then it's just a drop.
I ask, what will it take to turn our prisons around? Her Majesty's Prison, Northumberland, is one of the biggest in the country. I've just started working here as a prison custody officer.
Joe Fenton, HMP Northumberland. Those work as an undercover reporter for the BBC.
Hello, NU, this is November 2. Request permission to move from House Block 9 to House Block 8, over.
It's my first week, and already I'm responsible for escorting 70 prisoners.
Do you know what you're doing? Roughly. I tell you who will know. I've done it. All of them.
I just follow the crowd of prisoners and unlock the gates for them.
See, you're stopping them. You're not really. There's 3 milk miles ahead of you. It's only gates. If they're shut, you stop them.
There are more than 1,300 men behind bars here. Anything from driving offences to violent crime and drug smuggling. The demands are endless.
Is any talk? I've only got something. Million requests coming for shower gel toothpaste.
My standard shift is 10 hours. Straight out of training, I do 9 days in a row.
Can of bacon grill.
Loads of noodles. Thank you. Speak to the guys on your wing. I'm supposed to be over there feeding.
It appears chaotic to me. These 2 prisoners are drunk at mealtime and aren't trying to hide it.
All good, fella? Yeah? Roll check.
Some are high on drugs.
Hey, you got some string on your mouth there. Big bit of dribble coming down.
Others are struggling to cope.
Systems go on it.
You step out for like one small request, and everyone wants you. They're just...
Yeah.
It doesn't stop from the moment you get there to the moment you leave. You can't work 5 days or 6 days solid there. It ruins you. You're not a person anymore. You just exist.
3 years ago, the prison was privatised. French company Sodexo won the 15-year contract, promising the government it could save £130 million.
When the initial shock of the privatisation came out, the staff were shocked that it happened. But then we thought, well, maybe it could be a good thing, and we might see a bit change. You train as part of a team, so you and the dog are a team.
Jim Reed was a dog handler and prison officer with more than 20 years' experience. His optimism didn't last long.
They got rid of 96 uniformed staff, over 200 in total. I myself was part of a dog team, and we were told, you're gone.
Since 2011, around £500 million has been taken from the prison budget in England and Wales. As the prisoner population was rising, more than 6,000 officers were lost. Jim Reed took redundancy, but colleagues who stayed at Northumberland say they're overwhelmed.
I've seen experienced staff crying in the main street. And I said, I can't take it, I can't take it anymore. And it's horrendous up there for staff. When they open doors, they're pulling knives on them, fights and the drugs. It's a lot to deal with, even for experienced staff.
Last year, Sodexo took on 23 new officers. I'm one of them. During our 9-week training course, we were told that we'd been taken on to help turn the prison around. It's a big ask.
I've got a wall of smoke. You walking here? A wall of smoke on this landing.
Not all of the smoke is from cigarettes.
What'd you take?
Come on. It's in a bad way, man.
In the evenings, prisoners usually get a couple of hours to socialise before they're locked in their cells.
You doing it here?
What you doing in here?
Sodexo says we should always be on the lookout for drugs, weapons and mobile phones. But it's not that easy. Even with the new staff like me, I'm the only officer on this landing right now. And there's nearly 30 of them.
Just wondering what the party was.
What the party was?
Yeah.
None of your business, is it?
None of my business. Nah? All good in here?
Wait, what did I?
We're supposed to be in charge. I can't safely challenge them when I'm by myself. And the prisoners know that.
4:30 to 6:30, they can do what they want, can't they?
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's the grim reality.
The prisoner lying on the floor has smoked a drug called spice. His forearms moving around uncontrollably, his eyes completely vacant, doesn't know what he's seeing, and face completely expressionless. Spice is now one of the most popular drugs in prison. It's a cheap chemical alternative to cannabis, only many times stronger.
Spice is a potent, terrible drug. Hallucinating, become violent. They're walking around zombified, off their face, completely off their face.
The effects of the drugs start to wear off.
How's it going? You alright? You sure? I'm starting to worry there.
The prison nurse arrives, and an ambulance is on its way.
Hello. What's going on here? What's the crack here?
He was on the floor outside, just on his back. Sorry, here.
What do you had, honey?
Spice.
What are you playing at your age?
Officers tell me they don't always call the nurse when prisoners react badly to spice.
Unresponsive.
It happens too frequently. It's not just here. Prisoners regularly film themselves on mobile phones smoking spice.
Spice in a tight ass.
58 prison deaths in England and Wales have been linked to the drug.
He's gone, he's gone.
HMP Northumberland is a training prison. It holds medium to low security prisoners in its 15 house blocks. They're supposed to study or work, preparing for life on the outside.
What's the like working here?
It's alright. £30 a week, so it's alright.
Nearly a quarter of new prisoners in England can't read or write to the level expected of an 11-year-old. The education and training they receive here is provided by outside contractors. Teachers try their best, but some of what I see is not impressive. This is an employability skills class. I see 3 prisoners colouring in a picture of the children's cartoon character, Peppa Pig.
Prisoners colouring in Peppa Pig or anything similar is inexcusable.
Sir Martin, who used to run the prison service, hasn't seen any of my secret footage. He's now advising the government.
The art of reducing reoffending is not complicated. If you get somebody employable and get them into a job, the probability of them not going back to serious crime is hugely increased.
These classes are provided by a company called Novus. They told us they've investigated my concerns and sent a report to the government. Prisons are supposed to be among the most secure institutions in the country. But small amounts of drugs have always come in during prison visits.
So what's the practice? Just all around here in the bit?
It's just much about certain things you look for.
So you're looking at do you see any evidence of passion?
This prisoner has tried to swallow packages of heroin passed to him by a visitor. I find this package of drugs hidden in the sock of another and hand it in.
Sign there, then I'll do all the rest. You can wash your hands.
But there's far more spice in the prison than can ever get in during visits.
It's just like the amount of drugs that I've just found. There's no way that's come through here.
On the very same day I started work at HMP Northumberland, staff made a massive find.
Just on one house block, they found 2.5 kilos of spice. It was laid out over a table. It would have filled up 2 backpacks worth. It's incredible.
It has a prison value of £250,000. Much more than it would be worth on the outside. Some of the spice was barely hidden in a prisoner's wardrobe. There could have been more. Officers don't know how much had already been sold.
How they've been allowed to have that quantity of drugs in a cell is unbelievable. It's a major breach of security.
All the officers I've spoken to think every inch of the block should have been searched. They say in the past it would have been.
So they just locked the door window and just went in and massive searched everywhere. And, you know what I mean? To control it. Now we're just, these know they're in control.
Officers tell me they think there was no lockdown because it would have cost Sodexo money. They say if they're deployed to a search, they can't also get prisoners to education, work and training. And Sodexo gets paid, partly based on how many inmates attend.
There's nothing seen it. It hasn't even scratched the surface.
Really?
So for it was 250 grand's worth. And then the day before they got loads of steroids. It hasn't touched the surface. Absolutely inundated.
I need a nice big Wesley.
When was the last time you were high? You seem...
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
Last night at Banner.
Yeah.
This prisoner burgled to fund his cocaine habit.
That's the worst I've ever seen you.
On the inside, he's still on drugs. Now it's spice.
How did that happen?
Prison isn't helping him change his ways.
I was throwing up last night in our table. And I flushed this chair. And I flushed my teeth down the toilet.
HMP Northumberland's perimeter fence. Jim Reed used to regularly patrol inside the fence with a dog, intercepting drugs which had been thrown over. Sodexo scrapped all that and told him to drive around outside the perimeter on his own.
And it was supposed to deter people from throwing items over the fence. It was a joke. Every member of staff knew security was a joke.
We have to...
On patrol one afternoon, Jim ran into trouble.
So I was driving coming up the road here. We had intelligence there was going to be a package dropped off. 1 or 2 bodies, whatever, were hiding behind this hedge. And as I came up this way, they threw a boulder or a brick or whatever they threw. They just went bang, and it was a huge bang, and it shot at the windscreen. And I veered off to the right and ended up in this ditch over here.
Jim escaped serious injury. Other staff doing the same job have been threatened or attacked too. Sodexo told us they work closely with the police to deliver significant successes in the constant battle to disrupt drug supply and illegal activity. There used to be regular, dedicated search teams across HMP Northumberland. Officers have told us now there are none. This officer is supposed to be thoroughly checking the locks, bolts and bars in these cells. He does 3 cells in just 20 seconds.
You've not even been in a cell, dear. It's your time, man. I'm drowned in the grief and the stress and the abuse of working on these rooms.
This prisoner is in for burglary. We're calling him John. He seems disorientated and scared.
I can't open your door, not when you're up face.
He's been kept in his cell until the spice wears off.
Come and talk to you in a bit, okay, once you've sobered up. We'll keep checking on you, okay? How much is he taking?
As he starts to come round, I can make out what he's been trying to tell me.
What's wrong? You want off the wing?
Later I find out why. He says he's being bullied.
I've been schooled 3 times on here. Water, there.
Obviously you find him every now and then spiced out his face crawling around the landings.
Yeah, but that's people just taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
When I see him again, he's totally out of it on spice. Other inmates think it's hilarious. I think they're spiking him, giving him cigarettes laced with spice.
Hey, stay down here. Don't lean it, don't, no.
Straight away, throws up on his bed, over his pillow, and rolls straight over on his face into it. He's got no idea that there's sick everywhere. He's got no idea he's got his face in it. He's got no idea he's in a prison. He's just not functioning at all.
He's just here for your entertainment, isn't he?
I told a more experienced officer that he's being bullied. It seems to me John's vulnerable and being failed by the prison system.
Right across the prison service, the plain truth is that there are too few prison officers. And the great danger is some officers have retreated from interaction with prisoners to the ends of wings where they are perhaps observing prisoners. That's very, very dangerous. You have to have good order. You have to have a place which is safe and secure.
There aren't enough officers to deal with the violence here either. A fight's broken out. By the time officers get there, it's all over.
They're all looking down.
So they check the CCTV.
That must be the ones.
I see one prisoner stomping on another.
He's grinning.
Me? What are you?
I see the result of an attack on another prisoner.
You got blood all over your nice carpet.
I'm not kidding. Sooner or later, I'm seeing somebody getting killed on one of these wings.
And there are weapons in this prison. This knife was photographed inside, I'm told, in the last few weeks. Last year, 305 ambulances were called to the prison in just 7 months. That's 9 a week.
The cons are on off their face are angry because they see the state of the jail, they don't feel safe. You know what I mean? They're getting taxed, they're getting robbed, they're scared to get in the trouble, and they kind of hold us responsible because at the end of the day it's our jail.
And it's not a safe environment for officers either. 35 were attacked at HMP Northumberland in 2015. I'm told about a recent assault.
Got grazes and a couple of blows on his head. It's every week now, man.
You will be assaulted, some way, form or another.
It's getting that way.
You will be assaulted in your career, and no matter what you do.
So obviously, if you're going to take the TV, that TV will get smashed straight away.
After this prisoner was told his TV would be confiscated for beating up another inmate, he refuses to go back in his cell. Then he threatens me.
I'm not going to your bed.
Why not?
Simple as that. Move away from me.
You're not going to your pad?
Move away from me, unless you want to use it on you.
I prefer you didn't.
Well, can you move away from me?
I can step over here.
Other officers tell me they don't confront prisoners because they're not confident backup will arrive to protect them if they're attacked.
There's a lot of times when there's stuff happens and I can't react to it the way that I want to because there's not a backup there to deal with it. And I can't push them back into a cell because if I start fighting with it, there's no staff in my lounging. I don't feel safe, ever. It's shit.
There were 6,430 assaults on prison staff in England and Wales last year. That's 17 a day, the highest ever recorded. Prison officers staged a series of walkouts. They said they didn't feel safe and had lost confidence. At HMP Northumberland, officers feel their authority has gone too.
So there's no discipline at all. I feel like we've lost control of the jail, to be honest. Yes, they go behind the doors, but they run the jails. They do, because they get whatever they want, whenever they want it.
Just over a year ago, prisoners at HMP Northumberland filmed themselves having a party and apparently taking drugs.
This stuff's not working!
The party happened here on House Block 6. While I was there, staff made an astonishing find.
Phones, tools, tablets. All black clothing on you.
Officers think prisoners were wearing the black clothing to sneak out at night and avoid being seen by CCTV cameras.
We also found balaclavas and black gloves.
What again?
Tin snips. Tin snips and all sorts.
Tin snips, wire cutting tools. Staff soon find out what they've been used for.
Found a hole in the fence they could get through, and they could sneak underneath and get towards the external area, pick up any packages and come back through.
The hole in an internal security fence meant prisoners could collect drug deliveries thrown over the outer perimeter.
That's a major breach of security. Any tampering with any fencing should have been picked up earlier. It should have been inspected.
But how were they able to sneak out of their block in the first place? House Block 6 is supposed to be for well-behaved inmates about to transfer to open prisons. They aren't locked in their cells at night. Doors to the outside are supposed to be alarmed. I'm sent to check them after the discovery of the wire-cutting tools and make my own astonishing find. An alarm should go off. It doesn't.
We're doing the door tests, and then, wait, 2 of them work, 2 of them haven't. If they know it doesn't work, then they know that we know it doesn't work now. So at least it's better that they know that we know.
I was told problems with the alarms were reported 3 weeks earlier.
I suppose they're constantly testing the system, constantly, and as soon as they find a weakness...
Yeah, the weakness is no scoop.
I get a chance to speak to the governor, Tony Simpson. Even he admits he's let the wrong sort of prisoners onto the block.
Somehow or other, a lot of dodgy games.
Yeah.
So we're doing a piece of work which is about how do you make it that actually it's guys that we actually want to inmates who feel they think they keep them quiet. They're actually up to the
taking advantage of what the actual house block is.
So that's kind of floating around in the background. We're not being too upfront about it at this stage.
The governor also told me House Block 6, a prefab building, is 10 years past its sell-by date. We estimate that if Sodexo closed it, with a loss of 40 beds, they would lose £16,000 per week. Sodexo say they've invested at least £3 million in safety and security, which are their top priority, and recruited an additional 37 staff. They say, after viewing the programme, we will of course investigate where necessary and take appropriate action. The government say they're determined to make our prisons places of safety and reform, and have promised to spend an extra £100 million a year on 2,500 new officers in England and Wales.
The staff who are already there, whose confidence has been eroded, we need to concentrate on recovering their confidence. I think some of that will come as they see additional colleagues arriving to work alongside them. Not being glib, it will take some time.
Back at HMP Northumberland, despite my new intake, it still feels chaotic. I'm becoming used to the stress and the threat of violence, but I'm not prepared for what I see next.
Ambulance, who for? Yeah?
I think he's probably in deal for space or something like.
Shit.
He's convulsing on the floor.
It's an officer he's talking about. There have been reports officers' health has been put at risk by spice smoke in prison. Until now, there's been little evidence.
It's not good. It is not good.
He's had a big long full of space and he's just coughing his blood to it and then he's just dropped.
It's not the first time officers here have been felled by inhaling spice smoke. I've been told at least 3 members of staff have also needed hospital treatment in the last 7 months.
And I can hear him on there saying to the staff in the office, can you put the blowers on because it's very smoky up here. Right. How long has he been here for?
An hour. It's not getting any better.
He's taken to hospital and later recovers. I spent 2 months undercover at HMP Northumberland. I saw prison officers unable to maintain control, much less help rehabilitate prisoners.
If we take people and lock them up and don't use that period when they are literally captive to try to do something which make it less likely that they'll go and burgle someone's house when they get out, then we're just losing a golden opportunity.
Few of us will experience life inside, but all of us have a stake in stopping